And we are we live? Are we live? It should be coming up live.
I'm watching it.
I
watch YouTube.
All right. Hey, everyone. So in the chat, if you could just let us know if the audio is okay, if the video feed is coming okay.
I'll move this closer too.
We have Trevor, built by Trevor here as well.
Still figuring out what I want to call myself now that I changed my name. But yes, hello, everybody.
It's definitely been a minute since we did one of these live streams together.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's a lot's changed since the last time we did this. I think it was. Did we do one did we even do one this year, or was it last year that we last did it?
We've done a couple. We've done the kind of community quiz ones together, where you start kind of going on a rant about lighting and shadows.
Oh, I'm sure we can arrange that one too. Like, I'm more than happy to talk about that.
Yeah. We've done a few together. I feel like we do have like a lot of these video chats, but most of them aren't live, so I forget. Like, it's like we haven't included like the world.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting. I'm really excited to be here. Obviously, we put out the teaser for what we're working on. Over the next couple like days and weeks, we're going to be rolling out a ton more, like from officially through the channels. But yeah, excited to like talk about it and kick it off, showing off our new logo, which you can barely see behind me because it keeps glitching out. I don't think there's a version of this that's going to work. That's gonna show off the hexagon logo that we've done, but we'll get there.
I think if I stay in this position,
if we just stay still, that way
I have to stay in this position. It's okay.
How about you stay there and I'll move over here, and that way. Oh no, then we're showing it that way people can see each side of the logo.
Yes.
And they can use context clues to figure out what the rest of it looks like. Yeah, there we go. All right, quality content today. That's what we're going for.
Exactly, high quality. So we have Trevor. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a rundown of a bit of Trevor's background, also Mcfarlane toys. What is Mcfarlane Digital? And essentially some community questions, just clearing up a few of the questions we've been getting. And there is a really, really cool sponsored giveaway today. So I'll be giving let's say 2 whitelist spots. One of those, I will shortly be announcing how you can get that. But we will also be covering kind of a little bit on what happened at New York Comic Con, because I believe that was the first public look people had at the content. So that was fantastic as well. A lot of people, they had some great feedback, and just kind of what can we expect in the coming year. So we'll start off with Trevor, yourself. A lot of people do already know you, but kind of what is your background? What kind of stuff have you done, and what are you doing with Mcfarlane Digital now?
Yeah, so I guess a little bit about me for the community that isn't already somewhat familiar with me. I guess so. I've been working in the digital collectible, the NFT space for almost 2 years now, which for NFTs makes me a dinosaur of this industry. So I started a year ago. I was a lead content producer at Vivi, basically built their entire content production pipeline. And then before that, my background really was in game development. So I was a product manager and producer at first at Riot Games. I was at Riot for 3 years, worked on Legends of Runeterra, which is their trading card game. And then I was also at Sony, at a Santa Monica studio, working on God of War Ragnarok, which side note, super excited for that, which comes out in like 3 weeks. So that's going to be really cool to see what happened after I left and how it all came together. Very excited for that. So game development background, mostly working with artists in like the AAA game space and like leading teams there. Naturally, that parlayed into the digital collectible development. And about 6-7 months ago, I joined Mcfarlane, and I've been working with them to basically lead development on on digital collectibles and a digital collectible platform that I'm building with them.
Fantastic. That is great stuff. So a lot of people are familiar with Mcfarlane. They've either come across Todd Mcfarlane through his work as a comic book artist, writer, either through his film productions, Spawn being a very classic OG one, comics. We've just discussed that, and also quite a lot of his physical statues in terms of the DC Direct stuff. So we know that Todd McFarlane did acquire DC Direct at one point and rebranded it as McFarlane Toys. And a lot of people in like other projects, for example, the VV community discovered Todd McFarlane through, the Todd McFarlane Batman in that. So what is McFarlane Digital trying to do? What are they offering that is new for both their existing audience, the people who are part of the McFarlane kind of club, as well as new people who maybe are already kind of exploring the digital collectible space?
Yeah, so what we're calling McFarlane Toys Digital, and our focus here really is on, I guess, like the starting point for a lot of this was we saw how big and exciting, and we were all really big fans of this like emerging digital collecting space, and it was about finding a way into it that made sense for McFarlane Toys, because our background obviously is in physical. So I think from the outset, probably the thing we're gonna really like most clearly immediately differentiate ourselves is the physical digital component of everything that we're releasing, in terms of like the basically the parity in both quality and value that you'll see between the physical collectibles that we put out and the digital ones. And then on top of that, and the reason that I should say first, the reason that we're like able to do that is really we have this McFarlane, we have this 30-year history of building some of the best, most detailed like physical toys, and like especially like in the action figure space on the market. We kind of invented the concept of like the high-end collectible figure, and that was 30 years ago. And through that we've worked with pretty much every licensor under the sun, going all the way back from every single like vertical you can imagine. I think we're probably most well known for like superhero content, especially around DC, but worked with, of course, like both DC, Marvel, different anime properties, gaming properties, sports properties. Like we work with let's see, NFL, NBA, NHL, I believe MLB as well. So like the big four sports. And even like some other stuff like music properties as well. So making collectibles with everybody and trying to make really high quality and also really high value like physical collectibles. The goal is to bring that to the digital space and do it in a way that is as exciting to the physical collector who might not be into this space as people who are already involved in it. In our mind, that means really pushing the quality bar and keeping the value there as well. So it's about meeting or exceeding the quality, like where the market is, matching the quality bar of our physical toys on the digital side. And then on top of that, taking advantage of like the fact that it is digital to push the experience further. Obviously, we generally like, we're selling toys on our website or at physical retail locations. That's generally like the end of the experience. Obviously with digital, we can go a lot further in terms of like follow on play and engagement. I guess to borrow the parlance in the Web3 spaces we all know is utility, but it's really for us, it's like more than that. It's also making it approachable to someone who's more of a physical collector and giving them more reasons to play and share and engage in their collection.
Fantastic. So that's a really great overview. Now, I'm trying to be conscious that whenever you and I have these conversations, Trevor, we end up kind of going into this deep geeking out technical dive where everyone's just like, what are these guys talking about?
Exactly. Yes.
I'm trying to be conscious where we don't go down that rabbit hole, but I've seen some great stuff, both on the collectible side, the kind of stuff you can do with the collectible side. And it is very, very, for the normal person, it looks beautiful. It's fantastic. It's great. Could you give us a bit of a rundown, probably, in layman's terms, why has McFarlane Digital been able to produce such high quality premium collectibles, and what the plans are in terms of what you can do with those collectibles? Now, you don't need to go in detail, but more so in terms of like how you can show them off kind of thing.
Yeah. So, and I think so we've had discussions about this, and also like for anybody who was at our at New York Comic Con and went to our event, they got basically the first look at what we've been building. Our first thing is like Mcfarlane is a pretty large team. It's a larger. I think people like it feels like a small kind of like a more niche toy company just because of the content that they focus on, but it's quite large. So because of that, we've been able to make pretty heavy investment into not just the content that we're putting out, but the platform as well as like with our partners, like we announced today, like partnering with Rarible and with Polygon, like getting to that and the size of the partnership that doesn't come from being a small player in the space. This is something for anybody who's familiar with like what I'm doing, like on the Tomorrowland stuff that I'm doing, which is very separate from this, like similar kind of thing. They're a pretty large company, and because of that, we get access to certain things, and we get to go deeper, and we get more support with what we're doing. With Mcfarlane, it's in a similar kind of situation. On top of that, we put a lot of investment into really building a very high-end platform, and we're also building it with a focus on who like our core customer is, which is a very hardcore fan of these IPs that is used to engaging with them in really high quality environments. They're used to like either seeing them at the movie theater in the cinema quality assets, which are obviously way too big to run in real time, or they're used to playing them in like AAA games where they can really get immersed. And our view is that if we want to serve our collectors and our fan base, we have to be delivering assets at that quality bar. And so we've built a team that allows us to do it. And so I guess to tie it back to what you were saying, it really comes down to the team that we brought on, and also kind of the basis we're working off of. A lot of what we're doing is looking at our physical toys, and we're trying to create one-to-one physical to digital versions of those toys. So you're working off basically the original, like the sculpts for these toys, and those sculpts are done by some of the best like modelers in the business, specifically with the focus on they're making sculpts for the purpose of like, basically it goes to like a tooling team that it creates an injection mold, and that's how you make the plastic that becomes the toys. We in the digital space get to work off that incredible sculpt and then go the digital route with it, which allows us to keep some of that keep that, first of all, that extremely high detail and also that kind of plastic toy charm that it has, but push it in a couple key areas in terms of like, we can push the level of detail in terms of the text, like the textural detail a lot further. We can push the materials a lot further in terms of doing things that you can't do with a physical toy. See, I already went down the route of overly technical, so we've already missed that. So, but basically, but this is the stuff I get excited about, because this is like what it really comes down to is we think this is what the audience, like the Mcfarlane audience, wants. We also think it's kind of what's missing from the digital collectible space right now. And it's the thing we're really excited and passionate about, because it's a company that's always been super quality bar driven and super value driven as well, in terms of like building something to a really high quality bar, and then also selling it at a value that's like really reasonable prices. And you can see that if you go to the Mcfarlane toy store and see where toys are priced at.
Exactly. Fantastic. I mean, okay, so there are some questions coming in. And
I'm watching.
Yeah, I'm just collating like the common ones. So just one that I think people should be aware of, and this one I see a lot, is everyone who maybe doesn't have a technical background, they kind of get obsessed with this this fantasy of Unreal Engine being the greatest thing on planet Earth. And yeah, and I keep trying to make the point that a lot of things that you can, render in Unreal, you can do in Unity, for example, with HDRP, for example. So do you want to just explain what technology Mcfarlane is using for?
Yeah. So you're leading me to it, but yeah. So our platform is built in Unity HDRP. The reason for that is that it allows us to we're building in the larger Unity ecosystem because of that. But we're building at the high end of it. This is going to start in kind of the like mid to high spec PC kind of realm. The reason for that is that's where you can actually hit the absolute highest quality bar of these assets. I'm gesturing with my hands, but it's disappearing, which is, this background's driving me nuts. We're just going to everybody's favorite. Good news, everybody. Those are back. So it's we're building in Unity HDRP. It allows us to really push the quality bar as far as possible, but also because of the nature of Unity as a platform, it allows us to, as we continue to build and expand the platform, we've already hit the high quality to scale down and then get on other platforms, such as like in the future having a console quality or a mobile quality, an AR or VR quality, which is stuff we're all very excited about, but it will come hopefully down the line. That is a lot easier to do on a platform like Unity, which is just designed to, which scales to multi-platform solutions a lot better. The Unreal thing is interesting. Yes, I think at the very top end, you can make Unity, you can make Unreal look incredibly good. Unity HDRP looks incredibly good as well. Ultimate and out of the box, Unreal looks better. But the reason Unreal looks better, and this is the thing no one tells it, is Unreal has a lot of like post-processing effects, like just turned on by default that Unity has turned off by default. So it really, like, you can build in one versus the other, but choosing one engine over the other based off how good it looks out of the box is almost, in my, jokingly, it's like that's like a red flag that this person doesn't know how to develop something. Like, it's the worst reason to pick something is how good it looks out of the box, because no like high end like well-made product like cares about that, because they're going to like adjust it and tweak it to how whatever their needs are down the line. So that's kind of where we are. Our focus, we like Unity because it's a little bit easier to develop for, and it's a little bit easier to down the line scale it to multiple platforms. And also it looks really good. And there's more, like, in terms of it's easier to find like there's more Unity, like there's more great Unity developers at this point than there are great Unreal developers who are available, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for most people out there, that's one of the things even after this AMA, they're probably still going to ask this question, but at least we can say we've put it out there. Another question that I keep seeing, and I do want to address this one as well, because a lot of people, again, they see Mcfarlane Digital. Mcfarlane had previously done the odd key drop, and so that, I believe, was Solana. So just for everyone out there, do you want to just clarify? So Mcfarlane Digital, how is it different to Oddkey in terms of like the offering? And also Mcfarlane Digital is on a completely different chain to Solana. Should we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we can address it. Yeah. And again, all these details. So again, this is like the first time we're talking about it. We're going pretty deep already, and that's totally fine. We're going to be reiterating a lot of this stuff over the next coming weeks. But yeah, so obviously we're very close with the Oddkey team. We know them very well because they're related with Todd McFarlane, Steve Aoki doing the Oddkey platform. This is like for McFarlane toys. Our focus is going to be more on 3D content, and like the 3D, the digital collectible experience in 3D. Obviously, we can support 2D if one, like, in the future, like, but our focus is going to be on 3D content, and then the other thing, and focus on like McFarlane toys specifically, the toys that we put out, the collectibles we put out. We chose Polygon because, first of all, I've already said this before, I really do like the Solana ecosystem. Things lately haven't been looking as good, but I still like, but that's not really what this discussion's about.
We don't want to start roasting Solana here.
I know, no, but I think Solana, what I like about Solana is like how the ease, like the accessibility and the ease of use. But Polygon is part of, like, it's EVM compatible. It's part of the larger Ethereum ecosystem, which is massive. So being able to reach that audience. Yeah, it's an EVM compatible chain. So it's really easy for us to reach that audience. On top of that, Polygon as a development team, like the teams behind Polygon, like whether it's like the core teams, like Polygon Studios, are some of the best developers in like the entire space in terms of adding new features and functionality to that blockchain.
Yeah,
and
I've
really
met quite a lot of them. Yeah, fantastic people.
They're really, really good at what they do, and that's the reason that chain is everywhere. Like, that's why, like, when you see, like, especially in the NFT space, like, you see Ethereum, and then usually Polygon is the other chain that they add, because they are so good at, and they're so good at working with everybody and so good at getting their chain supported on every platform. And on top of that, they're building like all these new features to continue to push the chain forward. Like it started as a side chain. They're building a ZK rollup. Like they're built, which is like what people, the equivalent of like a mutable. They're building new ways to continue. I use that as an example because it's I think people often, well, the follow-up question is why Polygon and not immutable. For we like immutable as well, but for us it made more sense to go with Polygon just because of the level of like their support and the technical expertise over there. They've been a really good partner for us.
I mean, for other projects that I've worked with, we actually had a choice between Polygon and IMX, and we initially tried IMX, but because it's still newer than Polygon, the onboarding process is a lot lengthier, and if you want to launch, it can take a while. So Polygon does make more sense for how much of a veteran it is in the space. Yeah,
it's there that too. Like beyond it, there's so much support that they can offer over there because they execute so well. And so that's like, again, we're hoping to come in and become a big player in the space. And it's important for us we want to be working with teams that like kind of share that vision for us and are willing to like support us in that way. And Polygon has been incredibly supportive, like every step of this journey as we've been building this platform out.
And I think it did also kind of in hindsight unintentionally worked out as well, considering the newer news on Solana and how they're trying to go for a zero royalty structure. And I believe you've launched stuff with Magic Eden before for other projects. And,
yes, I still really like the Magic Eden team. I still like I think the Solana ecosystem has its merits. I mean, I don't want to go into the roast of Solana is not what we need to go into right now. But yeah, I think we're really happy with working with Polygon on this.
Yeah. So we have Mcfarlane Digital. And obviously, with Mcfarlane, it's pretty obvious for many people that they want to value and continue to value their loyal supporters, their members of their club. Some people in the audience, they're not sure, what is this Mcfarlane club? Like, what is this? What is that, and how does that tie into, if we can discuss, how does that tie in with Mcfarlane Digital? Like, what's the link there?
I think what I would say is, like, for me, I think probably this comes back to a question about like content utility, and then to a degree, I think there's another level, which is platform utility. And without going into like too many details on it, for us, I look at this as we're trying to build a place where people want to come in and engage, and we measure success by how much people are coming and engaging on our platform, in terms of how many do they continue to come back, do they continue to use all the features of our ecosystem and everything we're building. So it's really important with everything that we put out that there's some sort of objectives and rewards associated with that, with what you have, that's driving you to continue to re-engage. So I think, again, the buzzwordy term that gets thrown around is like gamification of like the content that's in there. Obviously, utility is another one with another term for it in the NFT space. But for us, it's really about everything that you collect should be helping you work towards something. And we are building, and we've already built the systems into our platform, and we will continue to build more into it. And all of it is basically designed to reward you for being a collector, being a holder in our ecosystem, actively engaging, whether it's like socializing, trading, creating, sharing, whatever you're doing inside of our world will be rewarded and get you towards the ultimate goal, which I think for a lot of people is expanding their collection further and making sure they are able to do that. So we're building those systems. I shouldn't say we're building them. We built those systems and we're continuing to expand them. And there will be more details on that like to come. Also, I would say a lot of what we're going to be doing is these systems are going to be in place, but we're doing it in a way where I don't want to tell people explicitly how the system works and like what the rewards are and what the objectives are. I want the community to discover it, because I don't particularly want to see how the community behaves swayed by what I say. I want Like, I don't want to be guiding everybody. I want people to discover it and guide each other. Like, it shouldn't come from me, if that makes sense. We'll be building the systems, but I don't want to tell people how the systems work. I want them to discover it. I think it's more fun. There's more discovery.
Fantastic. So I think that's a good segue into, before we go to the next question, is for our first allow list giveaway. So what I'll be doing is I've just shared a link, but I'm going to reshare it in a second. And I think what'll be great for now is for the tweet, if you want to participate, if you quote tweet that link to the video with your favorite Mcfarlane collectible, and make sure that you're following myself, you're following Trevor, and you're also following Mcfarlane Toys. So myself, Trevor, Mcfarlane Toys, quote with your favorite Mcfarlane collectible in that tweet. And then we'll be picking a random winner for this upcoming allow list. Now, we did initially mention it would be US only, but this one is actually going to be global. So don't worry. However, we will discuss kind of like what that was about as well, because there is we can talk a bit about the geography kind of differences as well. But yeah, I'm going to be dropping that link now.
Yeah, and I will. Yeah, so yeah, we can talk about that. I will say there are some details of it where I'll talk to I don't want to put too much information out there right now and then have to retract it. So I'll speak to what I know. But if we do reach the limits of and I'm talking about this with respect to like physical toys and that kind of stuff, we will have follow-ups with the rest of, I can talk to the team and make sure I come back with all the specific information about what works on the physical and the digital front in terms of collecting. I will show while I'm here, let me turn off the screen again. Here's my current favorite Mcfarlane collectible, just because I have it right here, is the Doomslayer from
the Doomslayer
from Doom. I don't know if anybody's played this game. It's freaking awesome. I'm playing through it again right now. We'll see how long I keep playing through it, because Gotham Knights comes out on.
There was a bit of a meme going around it's been going around for a while now, where people try and program Doom into as many random devices as they can, like the OG Doom. Someone got it on an ATM machine.
Yeah, and that's not surprising. I've seen on that, like someone got it on like on a calculator for
calculator,
like a TI-84 kind of thing. It's it's just because the game is like, not only is the original game like it's almost 30 years old. The game came out in the mid 90s. And on top of that, even for back then, it was pretty well optimized, it's a very well built game for that time. It's kind of like another one that I always refer to like as like Roller Coaster Tycoon. It will run on anything. Like, they're both extremely well built games. So because of that, they can keep porting them to new platforms. And that's where the joke of, can you put Doom on anything? Like, literally have it run on a calculator or what have you.
So that tweet, if you guys quote tweet that with your favorite Mcfarlane digital collectible, or Mcfarlane collectible I should say, and make sure you're following myself, Trevor, and Mcfarlane Toys, and then probably in the next 24 hours I will pick someone using a random number generator, and or maybe we can do it in the stream. Actually, let's do it towards the end of the stream. We'll do it live, and that person will get allow listed onto the upcoming Mcfarlane digital drop, which we can't say what the first drop is, can we?
No. And I think people okay, I'll tell you this. If you were, harass the people who are at the event. Don't harass people. That's actually not nice. Kindly ask the people who are at the event and see if they will tell you about like what they saw in terms of the specific collectibles. We'll talk about that stuff in the future. But like, if you saw some of the collectibles, the digital collectibles that we showed off at the event, that's going to be some of the first content that we're putting out there. So I would expect that kind of stuff. And we'll have more details about how the first drop is going to work, in terms of like, and a big focus again is like connecting for us. It's like connecting physical and digital, and a lot of our drops that we're going to be doing is going to be tying like physical and digital together, all the way from like, we'll have like pack-ins where it's like you buy the physical, you get the digital. We'll have the same thing released day and date, physical and digital. And then we're going to have like digital only as well, but those will be like re-releases of legacy products. So that's pretty exciting for us. And that legacy product basically being anything from our 30-year history that is pretty cool and exciting that we get to bring forward and re-release as a digital.
Okay, so that should be exciting stuff. So we know that Mcfarlane, they want to reward their existing kind of community. They want to onboard this kind of new community of collectors that have come through, the whole Web3 digital space. In terms of their content specifically, what, I don't know if we can discuss what we can expect, but we know Mcfarlane has a lot of IP. So what kind of stuff could we potentially see? And what kind of stuff would excite you out of, the library of Mcfarlane stuff?
Okay, so what I'll say, I can't give specifics on this stuff. What I will say, though, is for us, we're looking at basically whatever was exciting and compelling that we're making, that we are excited about right now, as well as from our 30-year history of collectibles, and in all the verticals, especially the ones that we haven't seen represented so much in the 3D collectible space. For example, I'm particularly obviously excited about the gaming stuff. That's what I have here, because that's my first love and my first professional experience was working in the games industry. So I'm very excited by that kind of content. Obviously looking at we do a ton. If you look at our website, you'll see we do a ton of DC stuff. So really excited by that, especially bringing out a focus on characters who haven't been a kind of underrepresented in the toy space, and bringing that forward. So that's, as well as obviously going to the big hitters, everybody, the major characters in those IPs. That's the kind of stuff I'm excited for. And then also, I think the anime stuff is really exciting too, and how we can reach bringing some of that forward and into this space. Those are the things that I'm probably most excited about. As far as specific IPs that I really like, I think that since you were hovering there, I do like the My Hero Academia stuff. Yes. But I like the Mortal Kombat characters that we have are super cool, especially because they're pretty violent. We can go a little bit further with that IP than you can with some of the others. And a lot of these, if you look, you might not see directly on the website. They might have it there, I don't know. But there's the blood splatter variants of these. We do a lot of colorways and variants when we can. And some of those can get super cool. Yeah, there you go. So there's two spawns with the variants there. And then the other thing is the other side, which is kind of funny for Mcfarlane. They have they have their collectors who love this kind of stuff, this IP based stuff. They have a whole nother their whole group that's sports focused. So we do a ton of NFL stuff, and for example, so that will be, for me, that's something that I'd be really excited to bring forward as well. Just because again, it's one of those things that it's not super represented in the space yet. I don't know why that shark is in that category, but
well, that's the only thing that was launched in 2020.
Let's look at, if you go back through at the top there's those tabs. This is fun for people to look at. If you go on the Mcfarlane website, this one specifically, you can see their collecting history going all the way back. All right. Hopefully there's some. Yeah,
they've done NFL, NBA, MLB. Okay, here's the MLB stuff. That's good. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we have pieces like for us, there are some, and the other place to look is you can see on eBay, the physical toys trading. There's some pieces going all the way back from the early mid 90s with sports figures or action figures around IP that are really big and popular as that. It's fun. It's every time we dive in and we're looking at some of these IP, it's there's so much stuff here that we have the potential to bring forward and or do digital versions of people talking about my yeah, I'm a very animated. I take advantage. I have this whole box. I'm going to use the whole thing.
So in terms of what we can expect in terms of rewarding collectors, because a lot of people out there, and you've seen it yourself, they're always what do I get for collecting? Or we've seen people saying, maybe rephrase it. They're hey, I spent my money and time into this. What else can I get beyond just looking at it? What plans can we discuss right now in terms of maybe rewarding collectors in order for them to do things with these collectibles? Just what can they look beyond just owning a premium digital asset?
Yeah, so I think again it comes back to, I guess it's the question of utility. For us, it comes back to, again, we live in the platform itself. I like the Gale's tweet on it. It's gonna be like me, but not me. The again, I think the utility comes in at two levels for me. There's a platform level utility, and then there's a content level utility. I also agree with that, Dino. Roller Coaster Tycoon is the vibe. I think a lot of what we're going to be doing is where if you have, and I can't give too many specifics now, but like there's this whole concept of like chase figures and like other colorways in the space. If you are a prolific collector of an IP, you should be rewarded with that from, and in my opinion, it should be naturally from within that IP. Mcfarlane toys, like in the physical product, we already do like this with, like, for example, we have these Build-A-Figs, which is basically a line where you'll have like 4 or 5 figures that each come with like the full figure and then a part. And if you collect the whole set, you have all the parts, and you could put those together to create another figure in that set. So it's the idea of basically you're buying the part and then you're getting another figure on top of that free. That's like about as far as you can go in the physical space in terms of connecting all these pieces together and giving value added and a deeper experience on top of that. Obviously, with the digital space, we can go a lot further than just that. We're already exploring ways we can do that with our first like digital drops in terms of how we can reward people beyond what they first collect, in terms of like having like, what do chase figures in this space look like? Again, not trying to give too many details here, but then of course, then there's like, how do you tie that back into the real world in terms of what can we do? Like we're very keen on the idea of like meetups, events, access to special experiences, especially, I mean, it's Mcfarlane Toys. I think the natural one that people go to is, oh, Todd McFarlane, and interacting with that. Even like the event we threw in New York Comic Con, that was like really the first time we'd ever done something like that. I think we want to approach, how do we do that in the future? How do we continue to do that and make that make that part of the rewarding experience for our collectors? We also look at how do we, and again, this is going to be down the line, something that is going to take time to get to. But because we have a digital world, like a digital ecosystem that we're building here, we still have this existing physical ecosystem. How can you tie both of those together and on top of all the other things that we build and that we do, so that you are getting rewarded for every way that you engage with with Mcfarlane and Mcfarlane Toys, and we're building the systems that allow all these things to kind of talk to each other, which I think Kay, you as an engineer knows, oh, you're trying to create, that's going to be a nightmare. But that's the kind of stuff that we're excited to build, is all those getting everything to be linked and getting everything to lead to rewards, whether it's physical rewards, digital rewards, experiential rewards based off what you've collected, as well as rewards based off your engagement in the system as a whole. That's what we're trying to build towards. I can't point to the specifics yet, though, because it's not time to announce those.
Okay, so we can't discuss if there's going to be any kind of let's just call it a master collector program. We can't.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, what can I say? Okay, if that's what we want, that I guess we can talk about to a degree. There is going to be everything that you do in the app is going to be, and we will, I should say this, we have a set of things that you will do in the app that you will discover that are going to reward you, and that's available from when the system launches. It's built in right now, and we are going to continue to expand that system to include more ways that you interact with the app, as well as more ways that you interact with the larger Mcfarlane Toys ecosystem. All that behavior is basically tracked and then rewarded, and is rewarded in the ways that like I discussed. And that's like a system that we've already built, and we're going to continue to expand. It's going to start fairly small, fairly straightforward. And as new things get added to it, we will talk more and more and talk about how that system is expanding, and you will experience that based off how you interact with the app. The other thing is when those things are added, we'll tell you some of the things that we add, some of them you'll have to discover. Because for us, a big part of this, and a thing that honestly to a degree drives more engagement, is that discovery process. And it's also fun. Like, I don't know if you've ever played like for me, my weird example that I pulled to is like rating and like high level, like end game rating in like an MMO or something, where it's like there's these levels that you can go to and you can do them with a couple friends, but they don't really tell you how they work, and you kind of have to solve the puzzle while you're doing it, while you're in the middle of the battle. That's kind of what the experience I wanted to some degree capture, or at least that's my fantasy of what this experience is going to be. Like this thing where it's like you will discover the systems as you're playing with them, and the people who discover them the fastest will be the one and are the best at engaging with them will be the ones who are most heavily rewarded within them. So it's a little bit competitive, not gonna lie.
Okay, here's something from me, and this one's probably gonna kick John Lee off in like his own kind of rampage. Jan, who's in the audience. So I can see under anime, Todd McFarlane has Avatar: The Last Airbender under anime. Does Avatar: The Last Airbender count as anime? Because it's not a Japanese.
Is that production. A question for me or for the
what do you reckon? Does it count as anime?
I don't know. I don't.
People okay, let us know in the chat, is Avatar: The Last Airbender anime or not? Because I've seen this debate go on for since it first came out. It's like, this is fake anime created by some US.
I know, I've seen that too. But here's the thing, I get where you're coming from, but if you're defining if it's good or not based off how authentically anime it is, I think you're missing the point, because it's like it's really good.
I mean, it is good. Like,
yeah.
The anime or not anime thing doesn't define whether it's good or not, because I really liked it. I even watched the Legend of Korra actually, which wasn't as good, but it was still good.
So good.
Yeah. But so some people, they're like they're culturally appropriating anime, and
I can understand that.
Big rant, yeah. It's interesting, but I do really like My Hero Academia, and personally for me, I would love to see My Hero Academia, and I know many other people who would on Mcfarlane, and definitely I'll be looking to get that should that come.
Hell yeah. And I'm excited. Like, I feel like, I hope if there's one takeaway from this is like people are inspired to look at Mcfarlane and start looking into the history of what they made. And it's just like, this is like, even this website, this has like 1% of everything that we put out. Like, this is like truly the very, very tip of the iceberg. There's stuff truly going back 30 years that like and it's just like everything. And it's just very exciting to like be able to like dive into this space. And then of course, putting out new stuff, like still putting out new stuff like every day on the website.
Definitely. So we have, let's just see what other questions are coming in from the audience.
I see a question. Someone's asking about it, clarifying about like the Todd side of this. So Mcfarlane Toys is basically Todd McFarlane's toy company, if that makes sense. So that's the connection that people are wondering about. So yes, it is very, very related to Todd.
So I guess we don't have to say if these are going to be animated or have anything else that, like they can do, but the potential for animating them should be there. Yeah.
100%. Actually, and beyond that, like, because they're all based off action figures, we're also looking at not just animated, but actually posable. Like, you'll have we're building the system still, but like you'll have access, like a simplified rig that allows you to pose the figure how you want to pose it is a system that we've been developing. And I see Thomas's question here about, are all the characters going to be digital over time? The answer is no. We understand, like, again, we understand that like in the digital collecting space, the value of like the scarcity side of it and all that. Not everything is going to become digital. We want to keep the values and the numbers way down because, or like we want to keep the numbers of pieces, the mints that are going out low, because we know there's a lot of value in that. We also think that's what creates and we also want to price like equivalent to what our physical toys are. So if it's priced $24.99 at retail, like physical retail, that's what the primary market for digital should be. It's going to be, and that's like a big focus of what we're trying to do as well. And again, the goal there is to, number one, create as much headroom on the secondary market as possible, because that is, not only is that there's a lot of action on that secondary market, but for me, that's engagement. That's like so much of the fun of the space actually is in the like finding those deals, getting them, holding it, the trading side of it. Like that's part of the fun of this ecosystem. And it's also about delivering as much value as possible. That's why you want to price it. Like that's like a big thing that drives the pricing. And there's a lot more details on this to come, but like same, like mint numbers, we want to really keep those down as well. Like our physical toy runs necessitate a certain mint size. I say mint size, it's really a manufacturing run because they're physical. And that's kind of like, there's economies at scale with the physical, like the manufacturing runs. We don't have that same constraint in the digital world. So because of that, we can keep our mint runs a lot lower. And that's going to be a big part of a big focus of ours, as well as keeping the mint numbers down.
Yes, because a lot of people, they do have these qualms with balancing scarcity with price, and collectability, utility, all of that stuff. Okay, so that's a very fantastic overview on that side of things. We do also have a couple of other questions with regards to oh yes, so with Todd, they've obviously got quite a lot of IP under their belt, anime, sports, etc. Are we going to be seeing all of these different niches, these different verticals, or is Todd mainly going to be focusing on one area, such as just the pop culture side of things, or just his own kind of IP?
No, we're focused on bringing everything. We want to bring everything that we can, but we want to do it the right way, in a way that makes sense within the ecosystem that we're building. So yeah, there's no, like, if it's something that Mcfarlane has produced, or is currently producing, or produced sometime in the last 30 years, we are looking at it, but we would only bring it, like, if it's something from the past, we're only going to bring it forward if it makes sense to. If it's something that's coming out today, we would only do digital if it makes sense to us alongside it. Again, with respect to the kind of the dynamics of that digital collectible market that we've observed, and obviously the physical market, which they know very well at this point. So it's not going to be everything. It'll actually start probably a fairly limited amount of everything that comes out, but hopefully that'll expand in terms of us going wider, not necessarily in terms of us releasing a higher quantity. We want to keep, again, I want to emphasize, like, the goal is to keep the numbers down. Like, that's a big focus of what we're trying to do. Mr. Doomsday.
So Blockchain Comics, we'll be doing I'll be giving away 2 spots today. There will be more spots in other ways to obtain, but for now, just the 2. Don't want to give everything away. Let's see. We have a few other questions coming in. I've been trying to keep track.
Here, I can look through them. Blockchain Comics asks, how much is the mint price? So that'll be related. Mint prices will be related to the physicals. So
yes,
if it's physical, like, again, we're trying to do like parity from physical to digital. That's just not just in quality, but also in price. So that's part of it as well.
Yeah, I think that point is extremely important. So
yeah. Uh-oh. Did you pause? Did I pause? Uh-oh. Did we lose Kay? Uh-oh. Is Kay getting rugged on his own stream? Jeez. I know he does. He looks like he does look very thoughtful in that pose. He's gonna be. He's like I don't know. He's about to say something very very important. He's like, listen here. Jeez. Yes, his coil attacked his Ethernet cable. We got hackers in the chat. Let's do a Trevor AMA. All right, I guess we can. I'll keep going. Oh my god. Did he really just drop? Can you guys? Holy shit! It is my channel. I just watched it switched over on the YouTube. All right, okay, Trevor. Here. I'll start going through answering questions. His coil attacked the Ethernet cable. Yeah, probably what happened. Let's see what else we got here. He's taking shot. Thanks. Possession right away. Tracer crop. Oh boy, he's back.
Got rugged there.
Trevor the YouTuber. God, and by the way, I'm clearly like a terrible YouTuber because as soon as like you disappeared, I just went like, I just froze. All right, he's back.
Anyway, as we were saying, so I think it's really important because it's really hard to price things in such a nascent space because no one knows what's expensive or cheap. Like, someone's chucked something out like a JPEG of a monkey for $50,000. Like, you don't know if it's expensive or cheap. So
and by the way, and we're seeing the capitulation on that too. So
yeah, exactly.
Like, I think, and again, it's like with us, we have a physical reference point for what we're doing. So that helps with it. But it's also like there's like two sides to it. One is it's like a huge part of Mcfarlane has always been not just the quality bar, but also the value in terms of like giving people a really high quality collectible for not very much money in terms of making sure that they're getting something that's like high value in that sense. Yeah, Scale's right. I did freeze as much as Kate. I wasn't expecting that to happen.
Yeah, I was like, oh, why is it looked like you had frozen, but then I was like, wait, no, I frozen.
No.
Yeah.
One quail, man. Yeah, people were talking about it must have been a quail that attacked your Ethernet cable.
Oh yeah, I've actually been working really hard to make sure it stays quiet for this interview because
yes.
I don't want any random Darth bird sounds.
After this, Kay is going to go quail hunting.
Yeah, it's really interesting because if you are pegging the price of a digital collectible to a physical collectible, now you're kind of setting a benchmark for other projects to be like, hey, maybe we're overpricing our stuff, or maybe, hey, we're underpricing our stuff as soon as you start to kind of get your stuff out there. And I think that's kind of what this space needs is more volume of product so that there's competition and then there's like a real floor price that's established. Because whenever there's a lack of liquidity in anything, it's very, very difficult to establish what you might consider a real price of a product. As soon as there's loads of product out there, you can kind of start to see, oh, this should probably be worth this much.
And I'm assuming what you're being is like a large variety too. It's not just having like a huge volume of a couple things. Yeah, I can agree with that. I think for us, it's also like there's a principle. There's also like on principle, just like we think we're pricing stuff like what we think is like a reasonable price for what we're offering, and also recognition like in this space. Again, it's like it creates headroom. It creates headroom for that price to like in the space like this where the collectibles are trading. It creates space for those to trade, and that delivers value to the customer, but also from us, that creates engagement around our platform and what we're building. And to me, that engagement is what really matters long term. That's how you make something that's truly fun and exciting. And to me, that's like really what like my guiding philosophy with that. And it's a thing that Mcfarlane has really, like the Mcfarlane Toys team has really embraced.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting. You touched on colorways on the physicals. Obviously, and I've heard many artists speak about this as well, is they really like the digital space because they're not limited to, working with physical materials. So could we see something similar for the digitals as a way to kind of maybe get people to engage more with the platform, or, kind of collect more, any sort of like variations or colorways or like any of that stuff?
Yeah, so one of the limitations in the physical space is on colorway, because anything that's uh, everything is like that space, it's painted plastic. So if the plastic only comes in certain colors and can only be painted to a certain like fine level of detail, you're limited in what you can pull off. When you go to a digital space, a lot of those limitations disappear. Like here, actually, we're using this zombie
Zombie Nightwing.
zombie Nightwing as an example. Like it's black plastic. It's like the skin colored plastic, and then blue paint on top of it. That's about as detailed as you can really go in the physical space. In digital, we can go a lot further and do stuff more than just like paint different paint colors, but also like different material like finishes and like different styles. Like something that's supposed to feel like metal can actually like have the like specular and like the material qualities, I should say, as opposed to going to the tech specifics. It can have the material qualities of metal or wood or whatever the material is, or real skin, which skin is a really difficult thing to render digitally, but you can make something that looks more realistic digitally, like if it's a skin tone, that you can like with painted plastic.
So this is a question actually, because again, like sometimes when we geek out with the kind of tech talk, a lot of people might not pick it up, and we keep using words that are familiar to us like platform. So I think it's really important to point out that this isn't like a one-off collection of collectibles. Like this is a full product with an entire like application, desktop-based application initially. As we kind of discussed, there is the ability to scale these collectibles for other platforms like you mentioned earlier. And so this is going to be a platform. Like,
yeah,
there's a full application, collectibles, other things on it,
We're also probably making some like assumptions based off like who you reach in terms of what people's like familiarity with this is. But what I would point to is basically we're going to be releasing a series of digital collectibles, and you will be able to hold on to and share those digital collectibles in your own, I guess for lack of a better word, your own gallery where you can show them off. And through that gallery experience, in terms of basically collecting and curating, sharing your collection, that's where all this interaction is going to happen. And that whole thing that we're building is the platform that's going to connect it to it. So that includes parts like the place where you'll be like buy, selling, and trading, and that's provided by like as we mentioned, one of our other partners, Rarible, who's been an awesome partner for us. They're building the marketplace where all that buy, selling, and trading action is going to happen. And then we have the app, like the application side of it, where basically you connect your collectibles to that application, and inside of there you will be able to show off what you created. I'm sorry that I'm speaking in such like kind of like high level terminology. Obviously, this was just like the very beginnings of this going out there today. There's going to be a lot more information coming out about this over the next coming days and weeks, and it'll be made a lot clearer as we show off more of like what this environment looks like.
So some of these questions, they probably aren't like best suited for either of us to kind of answer, because it's very like high level licensing stuff. So for example, there's a Homer and Simpson collectible that was dropped on Vivi, and that same collectible is also found on Todd McFarlane's kind of series of collections. So again, this is like a very, I guess, more complicated licensing question as opposed to a yes or no kind of question. That's the way it looks to me.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, this is like, I'm not going to get into the specifics of like the licensing agreements that exist, or like it's just not. It's not really my place to talk about them.
Okay, so let's see.
Can you go much more in detail? Yes. Yes.
You can go much more detailed. What is Nighthawk's first name?
I think he meant Nightwing.
Oh, Nightwing. Oh, that's Dick Grayson, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I was literally going to say that's actually not Zombie Nightwing. That's Nightwing after he got into a fight with Batman.
Oh.
For all the Nightwing lovers out there.
Jeez.
Do you know the have real one by Mcfarlane Toys and this? Oh, okay. So same licensing question.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, yes, here's one. Can we mention this? Anything to do with AR,
Yeah.
or is it?
So
VR?
here's the situation with specifically with AR. The first when the app launches, because of the platform that it's launching, it's starting with PC. It won't immediately have like a AR kind of functionality, just because like doing that on like a PC on a laptop or desktop doesn't really make that much sense. But again, part of the reason for building in the, again, staying in the Unity ecosystem and that scalability is that when we can eventually have this stuff on mobile devices or on other devices that are more supportive of that make AR easier. Obviously, there are AR applications for PC; they're just much more limited.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting because a lot of people, they don't have like the experience with working with these different platforms. So
of course not.
I think what might be useful for people to know is why is it actually a good thing to start on PC first and then look towards going towards mobile in
Oh
terms
yeah.
of
So
development?
for us, there's two sides. So one is in order for us to hit the we could build this stuff we wanted to like build to the absolute highest quality bar first, because from a development standpoint, and I know this doesn't matter too much to the audience, but like from a development standpoint, building to your max quality and then scaling down to whatever the device limitations are is a lot easier than building the small version and scaling it up. In fact, building small and scaling it up is functionally impossible. What you're basically saying is build it small and then redo it. Part of the reason for going for that really high end thing is it allows us to scale to other platforms when we get there, and to like lower end devices a lot faster. And then on top of that, for the audience, the physical collectible audience, like the fans of Mcfarlane, who we feel like are like really big fans of these IP, they're expecting a certain level of quality. And I think that quality is honestly beyond like kind of like mobile quality assets, if that makes sense. And you just can't achieve that quality bar on mobile, in my opinion.
So just to address actually, so two-part question. Meet Angel asks, on the toys, would there ever be a special edition kind of drop, like limited edition exclusive toys? I think that's probably more of a Todd McFarlane question, but I guess we could apply it to the digital side as well, like digital only collectibles. Should we address that one first?
We could do that like in the future. Again, our focus is really going to be on like the physical digital component. Digital only is obviously something that it's very supported, and certainly when we're looking at like bringing legacy pieces back, whether it's doing it the same piece or doing it with like a slight differentiation or like a different colorway of something, of like a classic piece, like that's something that we can look at. So it's like, and again, it's like the tech isn't the restriction on that. It's more like what we feel is right for that particular collectible.
And just bouncing off that question, so I think a lot of people who have maybe used Mcfarlane's website, and I guess because this is also currently the plan is the whole kind of phygital concept where you have the physical and the digital NFT twin. In terms of distribution, because a lot of people kind of were asking the getting these outside of the US. So at the moment, if I was to go on Mcfarlane's website and try and order something right now, will there be initially limitations in terms of where people can get these globally? And if so, will this possibly be able to change later on?
I believe so. I believe right now the physical stuff is shipping to North America.
Does that include Canada, by the way? People
I believe, yeah. It does. I mean, half
North America and Canada.
Okay. I believe, yeah. So I believe it's all
Canada.
North America. I believe US, Canada. This is the thing. Like, yes, this is something we want to expand to be able to deliver the toys globally. That's obviously something that we want to do. That is something that is outside of my area of expertise, but obviously, but we have had multiple discussions about it, and we're working on ways to achieve that with the team. Again, that's part of the reason for, again, like like I said, with the digital only drops and like figuring out how to do that, it's a way for us to serve a more global audience more quickly.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, I'm surprised we actually didn't touch on this. So because it is on Polygon, and because there is the whole platform being built around it, it is designed to be interoperable from the
yeah. So basically, from the way that the way that works will be basically Rarible has built a market. We're building a marketplace with Rarible, and all the and all the assets are basically tradable on Polygon. So basically, you can trade them within the Mcfarlane Toys digital store that we're creating, but any digital marketplace that supports Polygon, you can also trade them there. And they also you interact with the system with your own digital wallet. So it's not like it's basically like marketplace interoperable in that sense, where you can basically trade it on that platform. All you do is you connect your wallet to the application, and then in that connection, basically it sees the what's in your wallet, and it serves that content like inside the app, if that makes sense.
Fantastic. And I guess that's great in terms of adoption as well, because as we discussed earlier, Polygon is EVM compatible, and one of the biggest EVM chains is Ethereum, which then links in with larger marketplaces such as OpenSea, etc. So in terms of adoption and kind of getting the product out there, it should kind of balance out both ways as well.
Yeah, so there's so it's like you can, because of the nature of that ecosystem that we're building in, you can buy and sell and you can buy and sell on our ecosystem. You could do it on like Rarible or an OpenSea, or basically anybody who supports it. You could like cash in, cash out, fiat crypto, all those kinds of systems. And that's just like, we wanted to build into that ecosystem. I think it first of all, it simplifies it on our end. We also think it's like doing right by, it feels more true to what the digital collecting world wants to be in. So that's what we're like focused on.
Oh, good question, actually. Me, Angel again. So the collectibles, again, are they going to be featuring serial numbers? Will those serial numbers be paired with the physicals? Because we know that DC Direct, they do have like little serials on the back. And I think some people will make a big fuss out of it, like the whole time it was minted, that kind of thing. I mean, obviously that should be available on the metadata, but
All right, well, let's get ahead of that one now. At first, I would say no. I just want to get ahead of that. Like pairing your physical collectible to the digital one so they have matching serial numbers. We have not built that functionality yet, but it's a really good idea. And again, I should actually, this is a good time to speak to like part of our development philosophy around this whole thing. That's a good idea. If there's a large push for it, which I can imagine that there is, we will add it. We have like a whole roadmap of features that we want to develop. Basically, I wouldn't call it a roadmap. It's more, we have a backlog across basically a
Jira board.
Development. Yes, a Jira board. Thank you. Yes, agile development. We have a Jira, basically a board that we will prioritize features based off what we think is best, as well as based off community feedback around this. So if this is something like, I agree, this is a cool idea. It's a hell of a lot easier said than done. And like my initial review of it is like, I think it would be really cool to do it, but I also think the number of people who would recognize it is probably very, very small.
Being able to post them, can you also change the light to match the real world environment? I think that's maybe related to the AR kind of side of things.
Possibly, or like the gallery environment. Not yet. It's something that we would like to build. Again, there's like a lot more that we're going to be showing off.
Oh, so here's a question. Again, this is probably way too early to talk about anything like that, but any kind of, let's say, metaverse kind of plans?
I mean, building them as, I hate that term metaverse ready, because the concept of the metaverse is so ill-defined. But yeah, I get metaverse ready assets. Yes, we're developing them in such a way that they could be, that they could work in that we hope that they can work in that sense. Obviously, it's about who's supporting it and how easy it is to support it. Harleen Quail's, yes, they were talking about the quail. That's what you got to name your quail.
Lean
That's like
whales well.
chewing your Ethernet cables. But yeah, so yes, we focus on that. For like our particular vision of that is probably a little different from what I think other people view it as. For me, again, like what makes a metaverse worthwhile is it a space you want to spend time in? And that doesn't really mean it does everything for everybody. It means like, is this something that's fun and exciting for the audience that it was built for? And so for us, our big focus is how do we create a space that people want to come in and spend their time and create a highly social experience. And so we're investing a lot into that side of it.
I think now is a good time to say, let's say in another 5 minutes, we'll roll the dice and give away that allow list spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste the link to the tweet again. So that is now in the chat. I will bring it up. So what you need to do is quote tweet, include your favorite Mcfarlane collectible, and make sure you're following myself, Trevor, and Mcfarlane Toys. So I will do that again. So quote tweet with your favorite Mcfarlane collectible and be following myself, Trevor, and Mcfarlane Toys. And we will up here. So 5 minutes, we will roll the dice and see who gets that first allow list spot, which will be quite fun. And oh yes, so do we know? So this whole project, this isn't like a kind of Steve Aoki kind of collab thing like with Oddkey. This is a brand new proprietary kind of offering for people.
Correct. Yeah. So this is, again, we're very close with the Oddkey team. That is like Todd McFarlane, Steve Aoki have built this like that's the project they built. Like this is the McFarlane Toys ecosystem that we built. So, but like obviously we're very tight with that team, but it is like a separate ecosystem, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. So with Oddkey, we did see Spawn, as I think that was like kind of their launch IP. Will we see any kind of cool looking Spawn stuff coming anytime soon? Because that's kind of like the
is this
McFarlane signature IP.
Okay, is this a when Spawn question in disguise?
I don't know. I just clicked it and Spawn came up.
I'm not gonna speculate on specific pieces that we're putting out, but it would be pretty cool to see Spawn, especially if it was like the first, like one of the first things we launched, like first thing on the platform kind of thing. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it would be. I think it definitely would be, especially the Gatling gun one. But let's the
Gunslinger Spawn is pretty cool.
So let's see. We will give it another 3 minutes and then we will roll that dice. But let's see. We do have. Oh yes. So Todd has actually already launched a Spawn NFT. Todd McFarlane digital collectibles, are they going to include any specific tags such as first appearance, first edition, tags that people might be familiar with from other platforms, or will that not be included as metadata?
Oh, we probably won't be including those tags on it. I mean, unless people want it. Like, again, it's a thing, I guess. I mean, also, if it like first appearance somewhere else and then we did it, that'd just be lying, wouldn't it? Yeah. But it was also, they did the Spawnokis kind of thing, which is like a different thing.
Yeah. This is more of a interpretation question, right?
Yeah.
And I guess when you kind of really dig deep into, what is a NFT, because it's really, in my opinion, right? And because this is a very open thing, I personally am not of the opinion that it has to be a 3D asset for it to count as a first appearance, because the asset itself can always be retroactively updated. It can go from 2D to 3D. It's just, you're just changing the pointer to point to a different asset. So as long as there is significant agreement that this token is of this character, then the majority, I think, can agree that it's a first appearance. So if it's a 2D portrait of Batman and that comes out before a 3D Batman statue, in my opinion, I would say the 2D portrait of Batman is a first appearance of a Batman. But again, that kind of perception differs from people to people. So what do you think?
It's an interesting question. Honestly, the first appearance debate is something I never really paid much attention to. I think the important, like for me, I think the thing that's going to bring people in is again, it comes actually like quality and value. Quality and value. I think that's what's going to bring people into it most. However, I think getting caught up in, if you keep trying to split hairs on format, like it's the first appearance 2D versus 3D, one blockchain versus another, it's like if you have to split hairs that much, it means there's nothing there. Like no one's going to care to that level of detail. It'd be like I'm the first person to drop this pen on my desk on a Monday afternoon. Like, great. It doesn't mean anything. I don't know why I use that example. That's but it's like that has just like, if you have to split the hairs down that much, you're just not going to find anybody who's like, I just don't think it matters that much. What does matter, I think, in the grand scheme of things is, again, I think what matters in grand scheme of things is like just quality and value. And I think also the utility question is much like, what can I do with this thing? Is this something that's exciting and compelling? And so much of our focus is on hitting on those points. If that makes sense. And also building this with the community in mind. Like if this is something that like the community is like, no, we need to know everything specifically about how first appearance, how first edition is, whatever it is. We can do that. I just think in the long term, it's not the thing that brings value to this stuff. I think the thing that really brings value to it long term is this something that is really exciting and compelling and fun for people to engage in?
That makes sense. I mean, I think a lot of the audience, the general sentiment I get is they do care about the tags like first appearance because many of them are very like traditional collectors where this kind of stuff really does matter to them. So it's interesting to see that, but I think now is a good segue for us to go into let's see, what I will do is I can see there's 27 quote tweets, so I will bring that up onto the screen now. So 27 quote tweets. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on a number generator. Let's go. And that should be coming up any second. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go from 1 to 27. So what I'll do is I'll pick a number and then I'll count my way down on the quote tweets, and whoever lands on, then well done to them. So 26.
Why don't you count up? It'll be faster.
Actually, maybe I should. Okay, so I'll go back. Okay, we'll count down. We'll do.
Well, no, I was joking. That's like, don't count down 26. Just go to the bottom and go up 1, and you've hit 26. So there you go.
Oh, that is true. Yep. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. So we'll go all the way down and then count 1.
It's not me. All right, it's not
that one doesn't count. That one doesn't count because that was before.
Nailed it. I'm getting my own. No, okay. I guess maybe people added more to whatever.
Oh, actually, you know what? There aren't 27 because you guys quote tweeted. So let me actually, and so yeah, it wouldn't count because it's landed on you. You are 20. You are 26. Right. So we're gonna redo that. Let's not include Trevor.
No.
Okay. So
I am not included.
Okay. So I'm gonna say, let's see. Okay, 51 minutes ago was Dino. Okay, so Dive Jedi. Okay, so from Dive Jedi, so that means we're gonna do not 20. Was it not 27? We're going to do 25. Right. Okay. So let's do that again. I love how
excellent. This is going great.
It's like Trevor, you can take the loud list, not like you need it.
Yes.
Okay. Enter. 5. Okay. That sounds reasonable. So we will count down 5. Okay, quote tweet 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. NFT Weekend. Who is NFT Weekend? Here you find the latest on NFT news. So NFT Weekend. I will DM you, and I will say congratulations. Congrats. And you can now reply back to me at your own leisure. So that was pretty cool. Now, I reckon let's see. So we can probably maybe go for another 5 minutes and then we'll end it there. So we know that Todd McFarlane, they've got some great stuff coming out. And I think a lot of people are excited. Do we know when the kind of first drop date is and what the frequency is going to be? Is it going to be like every week we get like 2 drops, or is it going to be like a once a month thing? What's the kind of scheduling look like?
We'll have more details on that, but our goal is going to be we'll have more details on like the first drop and like when that's happening. That'll be later in the month, and then we will have our goal is to hit like a cadence of like a drop once every 2 weeks is really what we're trying to go for with our cadence, and keep the numbers down. And you're frozen again, so you didn't even hear that, so that's great. All right, I guess I'll just hang out. How many software engineers does it take? I don't know. Looking at these quotes. Oh, good. Now we get to just sit here and wait for him to reconnect. Jeez. Oh, and he's gone. That was my chance to decide. Okay, the Gale. Yeah, so yeah, that's the Mcfarlane. You're right. I need to seize this moment. Yes, this is so yeah, Mcfarlane Toys Digital. No, I won't be singing. Yeah, this is the platform that we've been developing for a long time. We're really excited to announce it and start. Like, this is the very beginning of us talking about it. Really excited to like share it and get everybody involved with it. Obviously there's we're kind of talking around things today. Hopefully there will be a lot more details in the future, and Hello K is back, so we'll be able to
the final rug.
I know exactly. And yeah, so there'll be a lot more details like to come as in the like just the next coming days. Like we even said on the tweet October 27th, so that's going to be the big rollout. People are asking me to do things on the stream. I wonder if that Lee is is that
Trevor vocally treaded water like no.
Yeah, it's just because I'm just waffling here, waiting for you to come back.
Yeah, so I think this one's a funny one. Like the term phygital, I only very recently came across it because initially I heard the term hybrid being used by Heroes team, and now there's this whole phygital thing. So I think for those who probably aren't aware, there are going to be the digitals linked to the physicals, but will there be digital only offerings as well?
Yeah, we covered that. Like, it's the focus is going to be physical, is going to be mostly physical digital, but we can do like digital only with it. And
okay, cool. Well, I think now is a good time to wrap up, but as we said earlier, so there is that competition. I just DM'd the winner, NFT News, so feel free to reach back out to me and we will get you added to that allow list. But yeah, thanks so much, guys. This was the first look and deep dive into Mcfarlane's new digital offering. Hopefully we'll be able to give you guys some more updates soon, but Please do like and subscribe, support the content, follow Trevor, follow myself, follow Mcfarlane Toys to keep up to date, and we'll see you guys next time. Adios, guys.